What's up guys, this is Wenzes. Welcome back to my channel where we talk about personal development for INFJs and how to create an epic life on your terms. Today we're gonna talk a little bit about the INFJ secret of hard work. I'm pretty sure you've heard of other people say, oh, that's the hardest working person I know, or that's the hardest working person in the room. We can be sure that when they're talking about somebody like this, it's not an INFJ. And this on top of everything is something that we're so proud of. It's something that we have a problem with. Like I to this day still struggle with this. When I hear other people say, oh, that's the hardest working person I know, I always feel like, why is that a compliment? Why is that something that people put on a pedestal? But I want to talk to you today about how it was possible for me to become a person who still, from my point of view, is not hardworking at all, but there's still people telling me this because of the results I achieve. And this is not something I can only observe in my life, but also in the life of my clients. And so I want to give you a couple of tips how you can approach this topic altogether so you feel happy and you get stuff done in a way that is exciting and it never feels like hard work. Before we get started, I want to remind you, if you want to take the next step in creating your epic life and you want my help with it, then work with me privately. All the information you find below. There are two things that always come up when INFJs are involved, and these are the things that they never want to be associated with. The first one is money. So you don't know how often I see it in the comment section that people say, I don't care about money, that's not something I'm interested in, I only want to help people. And the other one is, I don't want to be working hard. Like the fact that I have to work hard just to be productive, just to look like I'm being a successful member of society, is something I do not want to do. And these two statements have become such a mantra in the INFJ community that I'm definitely going to tackle both of them. So next time we're going to talk about this thing of I don't care about money, and today we're going to talk about I don't want to be a hard worker. So first off, why is it something that we have such a passion against? Why isn't it something that we have no opinion of? That could have been the case if we really didn't care. If we really didn't care, we wouldn't mention it. It wouldn't be something that would trigger us. Let's say somebody else would say something like, oh, that's the hardest working person I know. What would happen? We wouldn't have any kind of reaction. Similarly to that person saying, oh, this is my favorite sports team. I couldn't care less. It doesn't bother me. I have no connection to this. And so it goes on. But when I hear somebody saying that's the hardest working person I know, I really get upset. Like I am better now, of course, because I'm aware of what's going on. And I know that this has absolutely nothing to do with what that person is saying, but it has everything to do with the fact that I, specifically as an INFJ, do not want to associate myself with it. And so we have to ask ourselves, why is it such a theme? Why is it something that we have such strong emotions about? The truth is this, it's because of our inferior extroverted sensing. We see other people tapping into this. We see other people really being productive all the time. But when we tap into it and we get to a point of, I have to do this. This is not something I do out of fun. This is something because I feel obligated. It's a chore. It's a responsibility. It's something that other people expect of me. If we get to that point, we know we're going to get into a burnout mode if we continue. This is not what life is about. We don't want to be in a position where we're just forced to do things and then we would achieve something, let's say, in the eyes of society. But here's the thing. If we look at people who work all the time, yes, there are the workaholics where you can really tell, oh, this is really not healthy for them. They are really having physical pain because of it. They're not sleeping enough. You can tell by their face and everything. But that's a different scenario. That's people who go overboard. But what we are thinking about, does it make sense to think about the fact why we don't want to work more? Why do we have such a negative emotion attached to it? The truth is, if we look at people who are being productive, who get a lot of stuff done, we think, oh, that's not something I would want to be doing. I don't want to stay up too late. I don't want to invest 12 hours a day into this. And all of those thoughts come up. But we have no idea how that person actually feels. We don't know if that person is in a position how we would imagine ourselves to be. Because this is how I would imagine myself to be if I was that person, if I was working, let's say 12 hours a day, if I was putting every everything into it. I would hate my day. I would go out and I would actually force myself. I would work against myself. And this has so much to do with our cognitive functions you wouldn't believe. Because our main thing is introverted intuition, which we love to combine with our third function, which is introverted thinking. Meaning we absorb a situation and then we give meaning to it. So if we look at another person who works all the time, and we know that for us, if somebody's forcing us to do something we don't want to do for, let's say, 10 minutes, it feels like hell. How would that person feel if they're doing this for 12 hours? Because us doing that task is something that we would hate. But as I said, we don't know if that other person hates that task. Just because we hate it doesn't mean that that's the same for them. And this is one of the biggest misconceptions I have come around, and this is something that I want to share with the INFJ community in particular, because I'm convinced that our problem is not the fact that we're lazy or that we're all cerebral and that we all want to think. Our biggest hurdle is the fact that it's difficult for us to distinguish what we want, what makes us happy, because we don't have enough role models. What do we see? We see that person in the corporate job who works 12 hours, and we know this is not what's going to fulfill me. So of course we have the association that it will be painful to do this. But what we don't consider are the people who actually do work their passion, who you can tell from the outside are being excited about what they're doing. It's not that being productive and achieving amazing things goes hand in hand with doing things that you don't want. Those are the things we see outside, but only if we don't do any research. Because our goal is to figure out what it is that we really want and to follow that passion. Because you know what happens then? We get into the flow. That is what you hear about in the spiritual world, in the community where people talk about living a relaxed and successful life. People who really go about their life the way they want. Our so-called INFJ epic life is the perfect representation for this. So I've been a person all my life who people from the outside would have said I'm lazy, I'm more of the couch potato. My father would have said this, my friends, and this is something that I associated with. There would be no person in the world who would have ever considered me a workaholic. But in the last years, I have met so many people who tell me over and over again, wow, where do you get the energy from? How are you able to achieve that many great things? How do you have the time? From their perspective, I am a hard worker because nobody knows how much time I actually put into stuff. And on top of everything, I am being way more productive than I used to be. It's not even a comparison. But how do I feel? I feel more excited about life. I feel like I'm playing all day long. I feel like I'm working 10% of what I was working while I was in a corporate job and doing things I didn't want to do. With that being said, I'm not saying corporate jobs are the bad choice. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that when you get in a position of understanding how your energy works and you do things that enlarge your energy, not just from a physical energy management perspective, that's one of the pillars to an epic life. Remember, if you haven't done it so far, you can download the free poster below. But it's also a matter of, am I focusing my attention on the things that give me energy and not the things that drain me out of energy? And then you get in a position where nothing feels like work. And now that I've experienced all of this and I have seen similar results with my clients and I see how people in the bootcamp are making great improvements, I know it's that much easier for me to have a positive or at least a neutral association with a statement like, that's the hardest working person I know. So if you're in a position where you as an INFJ, if you would hear something like this, you have anger within you, then it's a great opportunity to analyze the situation. Why are you not being neutral towards it? Why do you have this association that you want to push against it? Why is it to you that you don't want to be considered somebody who works hard, or that you want to make sure that you're never in a position where you're trying to work hard because you know you're not going to be happy in this scenario? What has happened and how can we change our association with working hard? We know we don't want to be those kind of people who are not following their passion and their joy. We know our priorities in that sense, and we're not willing to go in that direction. But ask yourself, are you being in your own way? Are you pushing that much against it that you're not even considering the possibility that you might enjoy it? That you might love being one of those people who wakes up in the morning and wants to be productive, who wants to work on something every second of the day. And of course, you're gonna have phases where you're receptive, where you're going to be relaxing, because that's part of it. But the productive part of your day gets increased incrementally and exponentially. And that is something that you can get excited about. The question is just, are you willing to change your mindset around this? Because if you're happy with how things are going, if you're happy how your life is turning out right now, if you feel like you're excited about life and you live an epic life that is just beyond everything that you imagined, if you feel like this, then don't worry about it. But most of us are not. Most of us feel like there's something I'm not tapping into. The only thing I know is what I don't want. And I don't want to be working hard, because working hard means doing stuff that we don't like. And it's about time that we understand that if we learn to tap more and more into our passion, if we more and more surround ourselves with people who represent where we want to go, you will see how your energy will increase at a rate you never thought possible. And because of that, you're able to achieve that much more than you were ever able to do before. Sometimes I get to accomplish things within a day that I needed a month for before. And it's not because I'm smarter now or because I have the practice. It's because I have been able to remove that many more limiting beliefs that kept me from doing things that I have positive associations with. So if there are certain things that you feel like you have to do because that is necessary for you to be happy, but right now you have a negative association with it, then try to change it. I remember when I first started doing those videos, it was such hard work to get ready for them. You cannot imagine. But I knew this is what I wanted, and so I had to push against it. Although I had this feeling of, I don't want to be working hard, because staying in the same pattern that I used to just wasn't an option anymore. I was just suffering too much. But you don't have to wait until you get to a point where your life sucks so much that you're willing to do the hard work and go through hell. You can just find a way and create a new positive emotion with that task. So for me, it was when I was getting ready, I was putting on some happy sunny music. I was just thinking about the next step and not the entire process. I rewired my brain to have a positive association with the task that I wanted to do because it was going towards something that would bring me more energy. I was focusing on the things that made my life more epic. And I know you can do this too. So next time when you catch yourself having a negative association with a statement like, oh, that's the hardest working person I know, try to take some time and reanalyze what's really going on in your mind and how you can change that association so you are not standing in your own way anymore. I really hope that inspired you and helped you. Remember, if you want to take the next step in creating your epic life and you want my help with it, then work with me privately. All the information you find below. And if you want to watch another video now that is in line with today's topic, then watch my video on the INFJ paradox, monk versus warrior. Like always, guys, I wish you a wonderful day, a great week, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.